What's up, guys? It's Showtime Doctor. I'm back with another video. This video, I'm going to be covering why you should play this game. Is this game for you? Maybe this game isn't for you. So, uh, from what people have told me, I never played it myself. Well, right there is actually one of the very first videos I made where a Knight's Chronicle video, #1. And that guy right there, he's a different cat from who I am currently, unfortunately. To get back to that. But I remember one day I woke up and I just said, you know what? I want to see if there's any content for this game online because I just started playing it and I loved it. The game I'm talking about is Knight's Chronicle, by the way, guys. And I remember I went and looked and I didn't find anything that I really liked. Like, it was just like a bunch of dudes blabbing and a lot of misinformation and etc. So I was like, oh, God, no one's making videos for this game. I like, screw it, I'll just start making some videos for it so some people could learn about it and etc. And I had no idea what I was in for at that point, because little did I know, Knight's Chronicle would be the very first kind of YouTube video I would make where people would just start mass subscribing to me and asking my opinion on strategies and patch notes, etc. And it was quite the roller coaster ride. And man, dude, I just had that guy right there. He has a deep, abiding love for this game. Pretty insane to watch it now. But I'll flip. The topic for this video is actually going to be why I stopped playing Knight's Chronicle and some of the because I get that question a lot, so I figured I'd just address it here while I'm doing it. So, what happened was right around when Epic 7 came out. I forget when that was exactly. Somewhere around November last year, I believe it was. I was playing that. I was playing Knight's Chronicle. I think I was playing one or two other games, Brave Exvius. Actually, I think I was playing 3 other games, because at the time I had the time to do all that. And then I had to move across the country, because I was moving from California to North Carolina. I have my phone. My phone only has enough space for 2 games, so my 2 games were Epic 7 and I think Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, because you really had to keep up in that game to keep up with the stuff, and I didn't have the room for Knight's Chronicles, so I wasn't playing it. That's funny seeing Pepe #1. Anyways, so then, like, the trip took me about 6 days, and I remember I'm going across the country. I'm like, man, no, I feel so much better not playing Knight's Chronicle right now. And then eventually I got over here, and I reinstalled it, and I started playing it again, and you're like, oh god, I'm not having as much fun as I used to. What's going on? And so I'm going to share with you guys what happened as far as why I don't play the game necessarily anymore. Now, there were 3 tipping points for me, which I will show you a couple of them. But #1, the tipping point, we can actually look at it right here. So this was, actually, it was a little bit earlier. I was doing a dev note on, it says here, August 28th, 2018. And this was the dev note they put out. I believe it was their second one at the time. And you can kind of see what I'm getting towards here. So let's just listen. I'll fill in the particulars later. Various feedback and some improvements will be made in the coming date. Currently, the attack phase lasts for 4 hours. And I think increasing it 10 minutes. As for the 5-minute time limit for the individual combat with the 120 turn time limit, we have concluded that these are unfavorable conditions for the attacker. Further improvement will be made to give opportunities to positive reviews, even though they didn't really say. Alright, this is it right here. They're doing, but it's probably still in beta. Watch how I quickly change here. This is another big update many of you have been waiting for. There are many of you who would love to use the heroes in various uniforms, so we are preparing costumes for them. Wearing costumes can give your heroes additional abilities as well as a new appearance. Oh boy. We'll see how this goes. Some costumes even have the ability to completely change the hero's combat style. This has the potential to complement the weakness of existing heroes and play them more effectively. I am planning to raise my Rebecca starting now. I expect to see a completely different White Knight Rebecca. In addition to costumes, you can also equip new items called badges. With their costume. You can customize your hero's abilities through badges that can be obtained from dungeons. With the costume and badge combined, you can equip your hero to be one of the best
the one that best suits your playing style. It took us a long time to prepare for this, and we plan on showing more on the way, so stay tuned. Uh, that's both good and bad. Costumes, for the just visually, that'll be nice. As for changing heroes and badges, that adds some variety to the game, which is cool. But I hope they don't go, what's it called, Dragon Heroes or whatever the hell, Fire Emblem Heroes on me, where like all of a sudden everyone has like 20 different loadouts they can have. Hopefully they'll limit that a little bit. I would say maximum it should be like 4 or 5, but I mean if there's 2 different modes, it sounds like there's going to be way more than that. So
Yep. I was off on that last part about the Fire Emblem Heroes thing, but you heard the trepidation in my voice though the instant I read. Gonna change hero abilities. Good. And so that ended up being, personally for me, even though it was annoying, that wasn't what drove me off of the game, but that was one major strike one as far as these guys don't care about the community, they care about making money. And to a point, yeah, that's every game, honestly, nowadays, unfortunately, for the most part. But the thing that will always get me about Knights Chronicle is purely as an entertainer, quote unquote, that's probably the best time I ever had making content and doing streams, etc. I remember the community at the time, it was just so tightly knit, and I've lost that since then. Don't have that anymore. And it's not necessarily just because of the game. There's decisions I made and stuff too that affected it. But man, dude, if I could go back and experience like one day where, like all the old school players were still there having fun with this game, I'd do it. Because it was a magical time, It was like Camelot in a sense. And I know I'm probably over dramatizing it, but I really do miss those days to a point. But that was number one, and that actually ended up tanking. Once costumes came out, it tanked the player base. I don't know exactly how much percent, but it felt like it was about 40 or so percent at the time. And that hit really hard, man. That hit really hard. Now, earlier in this node, and I think I had been pretty critical on it before, they mentioned something, because you remember Guild Battle was in beta forever, and who knows, maybe it's still in beta now. Freaking Guild Battle was another thing I really hated, because, I mean, at first it was all unbalanced, and it took them forever to balance it, and it was just an annoying mode that wasn't fun at all. You just see the tanky PvP teams, and all they had to do was hold the point, and they won. So they would put teams out there that was like Rue, Ramu, Amon, Claude, and I forget whatever other good tank or good support there was. And in my opinion, I think all PvP in gacha games should do this. They should have a role, and like say there's 4 players or 5 players you can put on your team, right? There should be a tank role, there should be 1 or 2 DPS roles, depending on how many people are there, support role, and then you could have like a floater role or something just to improve the dynamic. And if you don't specifically fill those roles with those things, you get penalties. So the penalty should be, if you have too much tanky DPS, okay, you got 2 supports, so we're going to lower the effectiveness of their skills by whatever percentage. Or you got 3 tanks, okay, we're going to lower the total HP by 40% or whatever the fuck of the group, because it's just, it just, PvP has always been about what heroes are most effective, and once you get to the higher echelons of PvP, you'll see like the same 7 or 8 heroes interspersed intermittently on 5 teams. And even though we've gotten to the point where there's a lot more games with live PvP, combat PvP, most of the time you're just fighting against bots. And to me, it's not as fun. That's not a mechanic of the game I enjoy. Now, some of you really enjoy that mechanic. That's great. Me personally, I don't care either way. And I do it literally just to get whatever the currency is to farm whatever the special reward is for the most part. But I don't care about being like whatever the top tier ranks in PvP are, because, it's just bots, who cares? But then, so that's another thing that was like a strike too, was the guild battles, and then how annoying that resolve and revive were at the time. Now, as I speak right now, it's 6 months later. Possibly the PvP in this game is way better. I wouldn't know, because I did go back and play when the collab for Fairy Tail came out, and got a bunch of Ezra, I think her name is, and I forget the name of the other girl, but the holy girl with the key or whatever. Got a ton of her, had some fun, and for about 2 weeks I was playing every day again, and I noticed a lot of other people came back and played every day, and the guild actually filled out. I'm still in the guild that I was in before. They never kicked me, which, you know, not a respect I appreciate. And but the main thing that killed this game for me, go ahead, switch views here, and I'll show you guys. Now I apologize, because this game is kind of like schizophrenic on choosing whether or not it's going to be in portrait mode or landscape mode, but it's just the way it is, so bear with me if the screen goes kind of crazy. Besides my humdrum voice. Okay, so for you guys. Alright, so the thing that really killed this game for me, over here to challenges. Special dungeon. Actually, you know what's funny? We can go back to that other note and point out, I think it's at 420-ish or so. Here.
The advent dungeons. The event dungeons are basically advent dungeons. It's co-op. So let's say, you know, you're getting pretty good at the game and you're thinking, alright, I'm gonna go challenge a super-powered girl here. Party info. Like, yeah, I got Charlotte. Charlotte decreases all allies max HP by 50% if Charlotte's in the party.
Yeah, that right there is bullshit. This particular setup, you know, I don't care. Superpower Girl was actually fairly simple once you got to a certain level, but... Oh, I totally had the wrong screen up. Well, you basically heard what I was saying. So... the thing that really pisses me off about this game now, and... I don't know if we'll get a good example or not. I guess not. Thing that pisses me off about this game... Don't have a good example to show you, but I'll show you the basis of what I mean. The recommended heroes thing is bullshit. It just is. In this game, it's bullshit. And the reason that it's bullshit is because Netmarble, in their infinite greed, decided that for all of the dungeons after Nikita, and actually Nikita was kind of the test case. So the dungeon, what was the dungeon after Nikita? Lily, the makeup little girl or whatever. And there's apparently been 2 or 3 since then, but the very last one, and I completely don't even know the name of the dungeon, etc. But I was hearing people that were playing the game, they were telling me, dude, there is no way to beat this dungeon. There's like absolutely 0 ways to beat this dungeon. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Don't the whales just like get the pay-to-win costumes and go to town? They're like, no, you don't understand. There's no way. Even the whales can't beat this dungeon. And let me see if I can find, maybe it's Piara. Hold on, screen so you guys can see. Not that one, where is it? Alright, so this is on the Knights Chronicle Global. It was a question someone asked about how to beat Piarina. Maybe this is the dungeon I'm thinking of. Maybe not, but it's a similar dungeon to where, you know, they're like, how am I supposed to beat this admin? My units all just die like nothing, sometimes before they can even attack. Okay, what's your team composition? I have Eamon, Morgana, Wendy, and Damien. Okay. Left off the 5th, but whatever. So then Danta Rage, shout out to Danta Rage, by the way. The homie. The most optimal team is Costume Marduk, Tyrion, don't even know who he is, Miss Etika, Ashley, and Costume Ramu. So double costume heroes, number 1. You can complete it with regular Marduk and with a Noble Ramu friend. So apparently Noble Ramu is required. Try using Looming Death Runes on your support, since 6-star Awakened Ashley helps a lot. And then as other people come in and follow up, they say, literally, that is the only team that can beat Period. And then he cuts deep. Like I called it in another post, paywall advent. So the paywall advent, that's actually a good call, is a very common thing nowadays in Knights Chronicle, apparently for most of the newer dungeons that come out. So what happens is, like, let's go ahead and look up, because I don't even know what costume Marduk and costume, I think I kind of remember. Costume Ramu had something, but we'll go look at it here. Costumes. Oh look, all the hot ones just happen to be the pay-to-win costume. Alright, costume Marduk, let's see. Trying to look like Fabio or something. Alright, so I'm just gonna go through these quick. I'm not gonna read everything, but let's see the differences. Passive skill. Basically removes all debuffs. So I had heard that there is one of the debuffs that people really hate in this game. I forget what it's called, but it's like Armor Shred or something like that. So basically your character takes a fuck ton more damage as long as it's up, and the only way to stop it from being up, possibly this costume, not sure, but you had to defend, which meant you had to basically forsake damage or casting an ability that would support or something like that. And that got really annoying in Nikita's dungeon, and I'm sure all the other dungeons it's pretty crazy too. The costume passive skill, he apparently gets a resolve. Oh, he always has a resolve. 100% chance to taunt for one turn when resolve is activated. That could be super. And the rest of it looks about the same. So then, and then apparently it changes his 3. His 3 was like horrible, regular. Flicks damage, just take 6 versions here. 100% chance to stun for 2 turns if the target is an attack or hybrid type. Okay, so it's like a buffed version, but I guess the better part is he's removing all skills, because I remember, or all debuffs rather, is passive, because as long as 3 people are alive, I believe it was. I remember that wasn't a normal Marduk thing. Anyways, where's freaking... It's like, look at this, dude. Like, you're passive without the costume, it's like 1 sentence. You're passive with the costumes, a little paragraph. Increase all allies' recovery amounts by 30 if the caster has Oral Signet, and gives all allies 30% chance to become immune to abnormal status effects. Okay, so I could see how that would be really nice. Caster gains Oral Signet for 2 turns at the start of the wave. Okay. We just saw how that interacted. This one, you get a bit of a bigger percentage, and the caster gains Oral Signet once again. 1 or 2. And then her 3. Yeah, you're increasing attack speed for 1 turn if the ally is the same element as the caster, so that's really good for some wind heroes, I'm sure. Okay, so you can kind of see why. But like, for those who don't know, if you're watching this video for the first time, each of those costumes is $20, and unless they've snowed something that I haven't seen, there's no other way to get those costumes. And to me, when they did the costume thing, that's fine if you want to put it in for $20, but have a way to farm the costume. It could be a long freaking time, make it like 2 months, month and a half. You could put pay-to-win mechanics into farming the costume, so you can make it a little bit cheaper, a little bit faster, maybe $5, $10, and still make some money off people. But I don't know, it's just like, to me it's a huge scummy tactic, and I'll get more into it later. Let's go back to lobby, and I'll show you guys again with the special dungeons. Now, we don't have a dungeon up, that's a good example, unfortunately, but I'll take Taio's dungeon. So on Taio's dungeon, the recommended hero, and Taio's dungeon is actually pretty easy thing, but so imagine that Charlotte and Mao were both like top tier, really good heroes. Unless something's changed recently, they aren't. But when you went into, I remember, was it Nikita's dungeon? Well, okay, so Nikita was the test type for the new type of dungeons, basically the paywall dungeons that they were making. And at the time, you needed Verdandi. Without Verdandi, there was no way to beat that dungeon, essentially, unless you had at least one. Now, if you were lucky, you had one, and you take a friend's Verdandi, and you needed all water units. But with some people in the chat, I found a way to cheese it so that you only needed one Verdandi. I took 2 SR units. One of them was Ica. Who the other one was? But anyways, it was another... I think it was another water unit. Oh, Julie. I took Julie. Super powered girl. So I took Julie in, and then I snuck Sid in, because Sid was really good with the shields and the immunity proc. As long as he didn't get hit twice. If he got hit twice, he would be dead. And then... Who else did I take after that? God, I forget. I honestly forget who else I took, but it was some water someone. May, I think it was May, actually. I was taking May. So, if you think about the Nikita dungeon now, that's actually a very... You know, and it wasn't the perfect team. There was plenty of places where they could get screwed. And there was all types of RNG in there, from Defense Crush to the Revive procs of the Boars, which you needed Verdandi for to block their revive, which was dumb. And then Nikita herself, if she happened to target someone after she already defense crushed them with like her follow-up attack, she'd pretty much one-shot most people. And it got to be a chore because you'd have to defend certain turns, and certain turns you'd blow everything. But if Verdandi's anti-revive proc didn't go off, you were screwed on the boars if they got a stun or a charge off. Or not charge, sorry, a taunt. And then you couldn't target Nikita, and after whatever it was, 10 turns, Nikita would fly down from the sky and one-shot most things at the time. Now... But we found a way to cheese that, and I put that strategy out first day. And that kind of pissed off a lot of people at Netmarble, because, I don't know, we were supposed to make a lot of money on this advent because people were going to be pulling for Verdandi, and blah, 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 and it didn't work out. So then the next advent, Lily, they completely fucking... went nuts on that, and that advent actually made me quit the game. That was like the last straw for me, because for those who don't know, Lily, she was, I believe, was she a water boss? I think she's a... Yeah, she's a water boss. So optimal team you could take in was, whatever it is, grass, wind, wood, whatever the green type heroes in this game. Probably wind. Well, right off, they nerfed it so that all male characters basically got one shot. So you couldn't use any male characters. They also made it so that all fire characters would be insta-targeted, and if anyone in the party took damage, the fire character would take damage, even if they never got hit. And it was one-shottable damage, so someone like Rue or whoever else, they just die. And Rue would be really good in that dungeon because there's lots of charm debuff, and she could just insta-dispel it at the end of her turn, I believe, or at least like block it from getting on your characters with her too. So even if you managed to, like the way that I snuck Sid in Nikita's dungeon, if you snuck Ruin, she'd just get one shot and it wouldn't matter, and it would be like completely garbage. And then they added the thing with you needed Julie, because Julie was... One of the ads that Nikita would spawn was like this pissed off grandpa guy with the bomb shoulder packs or whatever. And he was like a super powered version. He would just fuck you up if you weren't able to either stun him or kill him in a certain amount of time. But the problem was, he was immune to all debuffs, so you would have to, in one turn, dispel that and get either a stun on him or a kill shot on him, or you'd have to just straight kill him. Which meant you had to have certain heroes, because there were only certain heroes that could do that, and I, at the time, did not have any of those heroes. And I didn't have a Julie, and I didn't have, I forget what the name of the other girl was, Junia, who got, like, the buffs. And I did have Callie, which a lot of us had Callie, because Callie was a farmable unit, 666, really powerful runes, etc. But it didn't matter because Callie would get fucking charm locked and there was nothing I could do about it. And so I remember I specifically built a team. I put Cowley all the way on the far left. I put Tayo right next to her because I knew Tayo would be dead by the time we got to Lily or quickly thereafter. And so, since Cowley could stealth, Cowley could effectively, as long as her stealth was proccing, stay out of Charm Lock. The charm in that dungeon, if people are thinking, oh, but you can just dispel charm, or charm goes away after one turn. No, it was like this permanent dumb charm thing where you couldn't dispel it. And as long as Lily was hitting you, and Lily had like a triple attack, you were basically charm locked, and you couldn't do anything. You just had to keep hitting in turn with any hero that was charm locked. Well, I remember specifically, I put 3 people on this side. Tayo's here in the second slot. Cowley's here in the first slot. Tayo goes down. So I'm like, okay. Cowley's stealth. Cowley is... The person right next to Cowley is dead, so there's no way to do like a triple attack to get her out of stealth. And so Lily's gonna have to focus on my more tankier units and my other units, while Cowley will just DPS her down. As long as stealth's proccing, it'll be, you know. And this bitch fucking goes to Tayo's spot. Tayo's dead. Goes to Tayo's spot and does her fucking triple attack. And I was like, wait a second, I can't fucking do that. Like, if I was in Cowley and, you know, like, the ad next to Cowley's dead, I can't fucking target that spot with the triple slot. Like, dude, that's bullshit. Like, they fucking... And as we would find out later, they fucking made it so that even if you have a powerful unit that is not nerfed... And by the way, they nerfed Tayo, too. They nerfed Tayo so that if you had him in the party... Wait, is that right? No, I think that's wrong. Never mind. Never mind on that one. Tayo gets nerfed in most dungeons, but not that one. Well, I mean, they did nerf him. They made him two-shottable, like all the male units, but whatever. So, in that dungeon, it was like, all the male units were garbage, fire units were garbage, and they didn't have to over-nerf the fire units, but they did because then Charm Lock would be easy to remove. But it's a water dungeon, so taking a fire unit into a water dungeon should be, you know, but it didn't work out like that. Well, anyway, so I guess I've bitched enough about her dungeon. So I stopped the game at that point, and then from what people were telling me, they did more stuff like that to where you either had to have a banner unit, 2 banner units, or you had to have costumed heroes of whatever costume they were pushing at the time. And this latest one, it was so bad that the whales, up until, God, I think it's been like 3 weeks now, but whatever it was, the whales couldn't even beat the dungeon. Like, people that were spending thousands of dollars on the game could not beat the dungeon. And as that post that I read earlier told you, there's literally 1 team comp that can beat that dungeon, and it's 2 costumed heroes. And I don't know, maybe one of them's a banner unit or whatever. So, that mechanic... I mean, you guys might have seen some worse stuff, but to me, that's the scummiest thing I've ever fucking seen in a video game. To where you effectively nerf all of the free-to-play farmable heroes. So the latest advent, I heard that they nerfed Lydia, Farseer Lydia, which you can farm up. And they nerfed, I think it's Rue, because... I forget exactly what the mechanic is, but there's something that they can dispel or make you immune to or whatever for X amount of turns where, you know, it would be effective in that dungeon, but except they nerfed them, so now it's a net negative and you basically can't run them in those dungeons, and that's a scummy tactic. I'm sorry, that's a scummy tactic, and that's one thing that'll always keep me away from this game. It's just like, dude, what's the point of fucking having challenging dungeons if you're just gonna nerf the effective heroes that are free-to-play farmable? And we know why they do that, because they want you to spend money. But there's so many better ways you guys could have went about that, you know, so... Literally anytime I see anything like this from now on in any game, I'm not even gonna play it. Because I know that's gonna be something that they're gonna abuse. Like, it would be one thing to take out one of the good heroes, but to strategically eliminate all of the heroes that you can either farm up in advents, or you can quest for, it's just scummy. It's just a really scummy thing, so... My opinion, that's what it is, but... And to be perfectly honest, it kind of actually gimps me because... Netmarble, you know, they're a good brand as far as getting people to play their games, etc., and having people that are happy to play their games. And I have effectively, probably, when all said and done, because there's going to be a see the screen. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that they're kind of schizo on the screen, going from landscape to portrait in battle mode versus regular mode. So it's just what it is. But then I forget, they got a new game coming out. Let me look up the name of it real quick. We were talking about it in the Discord. So I'm sorry, guys. LD Player actually plays this game really roughly. So. Volume. I tried to put on Nox, but it kept having some dumb security error or something like that. Because I play most of my games on Nox now. Well, anyways, Netmarble is coming out with a new game, and it actually looks pretty fun, and it actually looks pretty good. But I am on the record as saying I will never play another Netmarble game, because no matter how good their game is, and I'm sure it'll be a good game, we all know what's up. Within 3 to 4 months, the first 3 to 4 months, it's going to be really fun, you know, really good. People are going to love it. And then on that 3rd or 4th month, some type of pay-to-win mechanic is going to come out, and it's going to drive off, you know, the heart and soul of the player base. Whales are going to hang out for a while. People who really love the game are going to hang out for a while. And then we're going to have a similar situation, and that's apparently how it's gone down for 70–80% of Netmarble games recently, which is pretty sad. But that's the way it is. Now here's what the game's called. Something to do with 7 deadly sins. Yeah. I guess some type of anime 3D. Looks really nice, looks really good, but I made a promise to you guys. I'm not going to play any more Netmarble games. So effectively, I've probably cost myself, by not covering that, $1,000+, if not more than that, because, well, I mean, that's just the way it is with ad revenue and whatever else. But anyways, and I'm actually kind of sad about it, because I can still go back to Knight's Chronicle and have a decent amount of fun, you know. It's just, I have to basically, because I love PvE of most of the content, but I have to basically not do too much of the PvP. I do a little bit. And then not do too much of the guild battle, even though I still do a little bit just for the guild. And certain dungeons I just got to come to terms with. I'm not going to be able to beat them, because I don't have costumed heroes, and I don't have XYZ heroes, and even if I could get them from friends, you can only get one costumed hero from a friend, so it's just, I'm sorry, it's horrible. And don't get me wrong, like, I look at this game now, and I hear the music, and it evokes something in me. It still makes me happy, it still makes me feel that nostalgia that I used to feel when I play this game, but, you know, for the most part, I just can't do it, man, because I can go back and I can have fun with it for a little while, but as far as doing it every day, every other day, and covering it, and etc. And I still get those texts, please start covering this game again, please start covering this game again. I'm torn on it, guys, because, you know, part of me is just like, well, yeah, you made a promise, but, you know, things can change. But at the same time, it's like, well, if I tell you guys something and then I don't keep my promises, what good is my world? Or word? World. What good is my world, you know? And it's just one of these, like, super annoying things I go back and forth on all the time, so just the way it goes. I heard Momo's really good. Go ahead and get my free draws out the way. Apparently I got an SSR ticket too, so we'll go do that real quick for old time's sake. Oh my god, Attila. I heard they were giving her a epic quest, but I don't know how accurate that is. Ooh, defense phase gold. Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, apparently I got a free Damien. Damien, I heard, is actually really good now. Able to connect. Game's like tripping on it. Well, there you have it. Well, I like how the green screen doesn't like the edge of my hair. Good times. But if I change that too much, my face will start to go like transparent, translucent, whatever the hell the term is. But like, I still had lots of fun with this game, guys, and it's not from the fact of I don't like the game. I would never consider becoming one of their content creators, and I'm sure they would never consider me, considering all the Netmarble CEO videos and some of the critical things I've said about the game. I'm sure this video won't help. But from what I remember, I think like K Gaming, it's either K Gaming or Coolio Gaming, they got the Netmarble sponsorship to be their quote-unquote exclusive Netmarble content creator. So that's cool, congratulations to him. He made a video on it and he was pretty excited. So apparently moving or something. So this is a Knight Selector hero, so let's see what we get. I'm gonna guess Damien. Why not? Yeah, Ashley. I'll take Ashley. Ashley's cool. Alright, free SSR. Take a guess. It's Erika. Oh, they don't just pop up anymore? It always has to be through this. They used to just pop up. Oh well. I guess they want to feel more epic. Mary. From what I know, Mary's actually not that great anymore, except for, like, AoE clear teams. But, eh, do I know? So anyways, guys, so I hope that video explains some things a little bit more. Yeah, I guess there's really nothing more to say, so anyone that's got any questions about this or whatever, that's fine. I don't know, I've considered it, but I got a long ways to go before I would ever get, like, relevant in this game again. I'm missing so many heroes. Take a look at my team. Box. Those are all the heroes I had high. As you can see, I didn't have, like, a ton of heroes super high or anything, but what I had worked effectively for me. So, Cynthia, Morgan, Tayo, Callie. Wendy was actually pretty good, I found. Christian, of course, Lucy, Esna, Sid, Eamon. Eamon, by the way, I kind of wish he wasn't in the game, but he's apparently not as powerful now. The new costume Marduk and the new CEO is apparently really good. And then, you know, you got other characters I kind of worked up, Ramu, etc. I was starting to work on Lily, but I was waiting for her Farseer thing to come. Still haven't unlocked that yet. Abel's apparently still godlike. And etc. I still got a decent amount of heroes, but I did end up getting a Junia after all that, like when I went back 3 weeks ago and started playing the collab. So anyways, good. There you have it. Alright, so hopefully this explains things, and catch you guys later on. Fuck Lily's dungeon. Peace.